Hi and welcome to this week's Life Lessons teaching. It's great to be back with you all. This week we're talking all about life satisfaction and gratitude. Now, if you are unsatisfied with life, your successes, relationships, career, or what you do and don't have, is practicing gratitude the antidote or cure? Will writing a daily gratitude journal or practicing positive affirmations somehow unlock or transform your outlook on life? Or is the solution something deeper and far more fundamental within you? Well, in this teaching, we're going to be explaining the real reason you are unsatisfied with life, why common gratitude practices may never work for you, and how you can find lasting inner peace and contentment in your life. Okay, David, so if I am unsatisfied with my life, my successes, my achievements, my relationships, why won't gratitude practices work for me?
I think this is a perfect way we can demonstrate what we call in the Wu Wei model, the flip. You have to flip the question, because the real question is, why aren't you satisfied? What is the problem? Why do you keep on striving? It doesn't matter what you get, does it? There's always going to be something. It's like, remember that donkey and the carrot just dangling in front of it? It's almost like every time you want to get something more, you're never satisfied. So you have to flip the question. Why are you not satisfied? Why can't you be satisfied? Why can't you just believe what I tell you in each video? You are awesome. What more do you want than that? You are made of cosmic stardust. What more do you want than that? Why do you want to keep on striving for this unobtainable perfection, this thing that I'm never satisfied? I've got to keep driving myself. So you have to flip the question. That's the trick.
So is what you're saying that it doesn't matter how many times I write up my gratitude journal or how many times I put a smile on my face or think about something positive or say positive affirmations? If I've got something within me that's driving my expectations or my lack of satisfaction, that the gratitude practices just don't work.
They're like a pause. You just press the pause button, and you might get a good feeling, a green light feeling for a few minutes, a few hours. But guess what? The old beliefs come back, and that really is the key. Like we try and say on all of the videos, you've got to cut through this top level. You've got to clear the confusion, the maze of confusion, and you've got to go right down to the core teaching. So in this video, again, we'll be talking about many of our core teachings, such as CCJ. This is a really important teaching in the Wu Wei model. Do not criticize. Do not compare. Do not be judgmental. And I can tell you, before we develop this subject, this will be at the heart of this. Here comes something else. Perfection. Do you believe in perfection? Do you believe there's something called perfection? Can you reach it? Can anybody reach it? And there's CCJ. Who judges perfection? And why should we give them the authority to judge perfection in our life? And just one more that we'll be discussing, I can guarantee it, failure. And because that's why the core, the fountainhead, we talk a lot about what's the fountainhead, is this thought that you could fail and then you'd be criticized, and that's what you're avoiding.
Wow, David, there is a lot to unpack there. But the first thing I want to say is, for sure, if you're watching this or listening, you tell me whether you can relate to this. When I have practiced a gratitude journal, or I have sat down and consciously thought about all the positive things that I've got going in my life that I just seem to overlook, in that moment, I do feel a bit better. It's almost like you say, we pause the negative self-talk and we do experience some green light feelings.
But it's more important than that, because in that moment, you are aligning to your Shen. You're aligning to your truth. When you say those things to yourself, like, isn't it a wonderful day? Aren't I lucky to be alive? Aren't I lucky? Look at me. Aren't I lucky to be living? Aren't I looking to start counting all your blessings? In that moment, you're aligning to your Shen, your spirituality. And that's what produces the green light. The question for you, Alex, is why doesn't that maintain? What comes more powerful, like the trump card, bang, and overrides that? Because that's your core fountainhead belief.
So I totally get this idea that in the moment where we are touching and acknowledging the things that we do have to be grateful for in our life, everyone has something to be grateful for in their life, for sure. And when we acknowledge that, even momentarily, whether it's through writing it down or just in our self-talk, that changes the vibration and the energy of our thoughts, and we connect to our true, authentic nature and our truth.
And the result is?
Green light feelings.
Green light feelings.
But, as
but.
you said, it's almost like we momentarily open the door to the truth within us, but then as quick as we open it, the negative self-talk comes back and pushes the door closed, slams the door closed on us. And as you say, the old inauthentic beliefs, which are driving the CCJ and our expectations around perfection and failure, that's what kind of shuts that door on us. That shuts the door to the positive green light feelings.
So you have to be accountable for your beliefs. So in the example that Alex has just shared with us, that person, I know Alex is just role-playing, that person that Alex is describing doesn't believe that. They've pressed the pause button and they've kind of put another belief on top, but very quickly the core belief comes back. And that's what that's the flip. Don't worry about trying to, well, I'm going to work harder. I'm going to think every day for 5 minutes, good thoughts. No. You flip it and you say, why do I still believe this negative belief system about success and failure, about being criticized, about being judged, about being compared? Why is that the overriding belief? Because that's what you have to take responsibility, or you have to be accountable for that belief. Because let me just finish, because that is your true belief. I know you don't want to take it on board. I know you're going to push me away. But if it wasn't your core belief, your fountainhead belief, then it wouldn't take over. That is the most powerful belief. Why? Because you believe it. Simple as that. You believe it. It doesn't matter what anybody else says, because if they just look at you in a certain way, that belief comes back like clicking your fingers, a blink of an eye. That's your core belief. That's why it's called the flip. Don't waste your time writing reams and reams of positive outcomes. Try and find out what you really believe and why you believe it. That's going to make the difference, because that's where it's wrong.
And that thing, what you just said, David, about it's your true belief, that does not mean it's the truth, but what you believe becomes your reality.
You have to be accountable for it.
Yeah.
You have to be accountable for it because it's what you believe. And I don't care. Remember, what other people think of me is none of my business. I don't care what other people think about me. What I'm more important is what I think about me. What you should be concerned about is not what other people think about you, what you think about you, because that's the core belief. That's the true, or I would say untrue, because nobody's ever proven to me that they're not good enough, they can't cope, and they're unworthy or unlovable. It's a lie. Why do you want to keep on believing a lie?
So if we do the gratitude practices, we feel green light feelings. We experience those green light feelings in the moment, but only temporarily, because
We don't believe it.
the inauthentic beliefs are the dominant beliefs.
That's right.
The lies we tell ourselves, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I can't cope. They are all the lies within our core beliefs that fuel this sense, this feeling, because dissatisfaction, being unsatisfied, that's a red light feeling in our terminology.
It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense.
It's just a yucky kind of yearning, emptiness, frustration, anger, all sorts of associated red light feelings, but they are all fueled by something faulty going on within our belief system.
But the idea, think about the idea, I am unsatisfied. It doesn't, unsatisfied with what? Well, I'm unsatisfied with life. I'm unsatisfied with my job. I'm unsatisfied with my career. I'm unsatisfied with my family. I'm unsatisfied. And you see, now we're coming on to a real, see how everything kind of goes back to this inner child. I'm unsatisfied. How many of your physical children, Mom, I'm fed up, Mom, I'm fed up. That's what you're saying, I'm fed up. Because what you're saying is things aren't going the way that I want them to go. And instead of focusing on making them change, you now start in poor me, feel sorry for me, I'm unsatisfied, nothing ever works out the way I want it to be. And so we go right down into the inner child again. That part of your mind, and there's the fountainhead. And I will tell you, this normally happens in my experience with my clients, because when they were a child, they were heavily criticized. They were heavily compared to their brothers, sisters, to people at school. They were being judged very much by their parents. And so that child has that CCJ almost right at the core, and that's what we've got to dig down deep and get to, because that's the real belief that's driving you. That's why the Chinese call it the fountainhead. You can look at the spray, but you've got to get to the fountainhead, the core of the belief, because that's the one that's driving you.
So this inner child within us that we all have, that part of our mind that we carry with us into adulthood, if as a child we concluded wrongly that we weren't good enough, that we weren't lovable, that we couldn't cope, all those three lies we talk about, you mention the driver of perfection or the desire to avoid failure at all costs. That's kind of like two ends of a spectrum.
It is, there's the pendulum.
So
there's the pendulum. So when you go to perfection, which I don't understand, then the other end of that pendulum is failure. Now you will find, if this is you, if I'm describing you, go right back into your childhood, and what you've been doing all of your life is trying to get this medal, this honor of being perfect. And this is what the child thinks when they're heavily criticized, when they're heavily judged, or when they're heavily compared. Then the child, remember we're talking about between about 6 and 9, comes up with this wonderful scheme, a childlike scheme. And here's the scheme. Well, if I'm perfect, if I get everything right, if I'm right, if I'm number one, if I'm on a pedestal, then no one's going to criticize me, are they? No one's going to be upset with me. No one's going to raise their voice or physically hit me or abuse me or verbally abuse me. I'll be slightly superior. Now, the problem with that sounds like a good solution to a child, but it never works. It never can work. It's impossible. And that's why you're never satisfied, because you're reaching like the donkey. You're reaching a carrot, and every time you take a step forward, the carrot goes farther away. And so you can never reach those realms of kind of Disney World or utopia where everything is the way that you want it to be and everyone holds you in high esteem and everything you attempt, on the first attempt you do it really well and you never get it wrong and everything works out right. How many times do you look back on your life and say, Oh, well, that was a failure. That was a failure. That was a failure. Here's evidence. This is what people say to me. Here's evidence, David. I'm not good enough. It's not evidence you're not good enough. Every human being only learns by making mistakes. Everything you've done, the first time you made a mistake, whether that's something as basic as walking, you fell down. Whether it's something even more basic than going to the toilet, you pooped your pants. This is how we learn. We learn by making mistakes. You don't take that mistake then and hold it like a club and keep beating yourself with it. And that's where it goes wrong. That's why you can never be satisfied, because you're always driving for something better, this utopian Disney world where you're top of the heap, you're head of the class, everything works out the way that you want it to. That's why sitting down and writing a journal about being satisfied or gratitude will never work.
Yeah, because the inner child is very much like, well, yeah, okay, so I can see that this is okay in my life, that's okay in my life, and this might be okay in life, but it gives us the big but. What about this? What about that? Because if it has the unattainable goal of perfection, which no one can ever achieve, and it then uses the CCJ, the criticizing, the comparing, the being judgmental, that it experienced as a child, so that we may have experienced as a child. It then uses those tactics on itself. We criticize ourselves, we compare ourselves, we judge ourselves against other people in order to see how far up this line, this step ladder we're getting towards perfection. And of course, the inner child's really, I guess it's not looking for evidence to prove that you are moving towards perfection or that you are great. The inner child's working against you. Like we said in the last teaching, the inner child in these times is your own worst enemy, because it's desperately hunting around for more evidence to prove how you're not good enough, you're not lovable, you can't cope. It's desperately looking for all the reasons to prove why you should be unsatisfied.
Absolutely, because it believes then that will drive you. Don't you need to be driven? Don't you need to keep on? And then my clients say to me, well, if I'm not driven, David, I'm going to be lazy. You're going to be lazy? You're not going to be lazy. You find your authentic flow. Wouldn't it be much better to be in your flow, to be effortless? That's what Wu Wei means. Effortless effort. That means being in your sweet spot. You cannot be lazy unless you choose to be lazy. Why would you choose to be lazy? And who's choosing to be lazy? So you've got to stop this. This, as Alex says, this idea of failure and success, failure and perfection. What is it? Who judges it? See, you fall into the CCJ. Who's judging it? It's a judgmental statement. Who's making that judgment? And why are you giving them the authority over your life to judge you? That really is the key. Why would you hand the keys to your life to someone else? Do you think they know you better than you know yourself? This is why you've got to do the flip, and you've got to go to your core beliefs. What do you believe? Why do you believe it? And that's where the most powerful spiritual work will take place. And the beauty about this, let me share with you the beauty about this. It doesn't involve anybody else except you, because it's your belief. It may have come from someone else when you were a child. It may have come from your overbearing parents, but now you've taken it on. And when it's your belief and you take responsibility, you're accountable for your belief, then it's only you can change it. And that's the real power of this teaching. Once you own your beliefs, then you can change them.
But David, what if, okay, I understand the idea that as a child I may have taken on or misunderstood that I wasn't good enough, or I can't cope, or that I'm unlovable, and that because of that I may now be trying to prove myself, I may now trying to be perfect. But you say do the flip. forget what other people believed about you or what you thought other people believed about you. What do you believe about you? So if I do that flip and I ask myself, sit down quietly and ask myself that question, what if I actually still think, well, you know what? I am not good enough. I am not lovable.
Okay.
I do need to prove myself. I have got every good reason to be unsatisfied with my life.
So
what then?
So we do the golden thread. Here comes another Wu Wei teaching. So you do the golden thread and you sit down and you go, right, I've come, it's not a lie for me. It's the truth. The truth is I'm not good enough. Then you do the golden thread again. Why do you believe you're not good enough? See, you do it again. You may have to do the golden thread 3 circles to get down to the truth, because you did not come into this life believing that you was not good enough. You didn't. This is a learnt belief. Go back and find where you learnt it from. So somebody else either said it to you directly, or you inferred it by the way they treated you. Then you can challenge, does that make it true? Does that make it true? I'll just use an example. If your father, if your mother, if your grandmother, if your grandfather, if your teacher actually looked you right in the eyes and says, look, you're not good enough, does that make it true? No, it doesn't. It's their judgment. Why would you pass your authority for the rest of your life and give it to them and then live off their judgment? Are they in a position to judge you? Have they run their life? Are they in a position to look after their own life? Because if they're saying that to a child, I would definitely question the person that's saying that to a child.
But when that happens to us as a child, David, when it's someone in authority, like a teacher or someone who we look up to and love without question, like our parents or carers or a close relative, when that happens to us and they say something like that to us, that can absolutely shock us to the core as a child.
Absolutely shock us right to the core as a child. You're absolutely right. And that's why we call it the inner child work. But when do you become accountable for your beliefs? So somebody gave you this belief, and I absolutely accept and acknowledge and understand that's why I do this work with you. As a child, it is absolutely reasonable that you may believe that, or you will believe that. But where do you challenge those beliefs? When do you become accountable for those beliefs? That's the teaching, really. And this is your spiritual growth. And this is what I mean when I say your Shen. Because unless you say that all human beings are defined by what somebody else says to them, I do not believe that. I believe you are worth more than that. And I believe that you should be accountable for your beliefs. Remember, you create your emotions and you are accountable for your beliefs. And that's the spiritual teaching I want to pass over to you in this video. Not to sit for hours and hours writing a gratitude journal. Go the other way, flip it over and say, why do I believe this?
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Why am I giving those people the authority to run my life? Why is that in my deeper belief system that it's affecting me every day in my career, in my home life, in my love life, in the way I think and care and love myself? Why am I using them as the fountainhead for my life?
And so I just want to backtrack a little bit to something that I know a lot of our supporters get stuck on with the golden thread process. So if we acknowledge that we may be carrying a faulty belief about not being lovable, not being good enough, not being able to cope, and this is what's driving our need for perfection and therefore creating the red light feelings of dissatisfaction with whatever's going on in our life. If, as you say, we actually believe it ourselves that we're not good enough, etc., and then you say, do the golden thread process question again, why do you believe that? what a lot of people get stuck on is they have this confusion between the outcome of believing that and the actual real evidence for believing that.
Yes, yeah. So when you do the golden thread, there's what you're looking for. Again, I'm going to use the word the fountainhead, the core, the first domino. Remember when you hit the domino and all the dominoes spread out? You're looking for the first domino, the core, the fountainhead, the beginning, not the result of believing it, because this is where a lot of my clients get absolutely confused. They'll go, well, I'm not good enough because look, I failed my 11 plus, I failed this, I didn't get into college, my first relationship broke down, I got divorced, I got the sack. There's proof I'm not good enough.
Which the inner child loves, gathering all
Absolutely.
that evidence to support its negative, inauthentic
Absolutely.
beliefs.
And that really doesn't prove you're not good enough at all. Zero. That is more likely to be the result of thinking it. As you think, we've done many videos on this. Here's the law of attraction. We've just done a series on the law of attraction. As you believe, so shall it be. And if you believe you're not good enough, do you actually think that believing you're not good enough, you can't cope, and you're unlovable will bring you positive outcomes? No, definitely will not. And so do not get confused with the result to where it started from. So when you get down to the core, you've done the golden thread and you think, right, I've got my core, I'm not good enough. Then you do the golden thread again. Why do you believe you're not good enough? Where did that come from? Where was the origin? Where was the beginning? Who said that to you first? When did you first come up with that idea? You wasn't sitting there one day and thinking, oh, it'll be a really nice idea if I think I'm not good enough. Won't that work for me? You never thought that. And that's what you've got to go to. And then check the authority of those people, that person, that teacher, because that person you have given your life, you've given the keys to your life, you've given them everything. They probably don't even know what they've done or what they said to you, but you have given that authority. Can I just say one more thing? I know for a lot of my clients, they say, well, it's my parents. And don't you have to love and respect your parents? Yes, of course you do. Absolutely. Absolutely love and respect your parents. But why are you saying that every single thing that your parents did was the truth and you should follow it without question? Come on. And what you do, you cherry pick. You've never followed every single thing your parents said without question. You questioned it even as a child. Why don't you question it now? And that's what the golden thread is, just a questioning exercise.
And when we start doing this questioning exercise for ourselves, really digging deep and asking, where has this train of self-talk, where has this deeper core belief originated from? Not, all the reasons, all the times I've failed, all the things I've let myself down on, not all the failed relationships I've had, because the inner child can reel those off very, very quickly, very, very easily, no problem. But you will perhaps experience some sort of inner resistance when you try to dig deep and do this deeper work, and to reflect back, perhaps for the first time, on where these beliefs came from. What was the first time that I believed I was unlovable? When was the first time that I experienced red light feelings of unworthiness, of being unlovable, of feeling like I'm rejected? All those red light feeling descriptions we use. That can take a little bit of practice to get down to that original incident or series of incidences in our childhood.
But this is, to me, is the excitement of the Wu Wei wisdom process. I believe you can do this on your own. I don't believe you need a counselor. And the people that come to me, we normally only do 1 or 2 sessions because I can just help them through that block. Stop using I feel. Did you hear Alex use it twice there?
Yeah.
Stop using I feel, because I feel becomes a victim statement. You are not a victim. You are not a victim. Change it to I think, I believe, I choose. So instead of saying, I feel scared, I choose to be scared. I believe I'm scared. I think I'm scared. Now that gives you ownership. And now that will help you to go down the golden thread much quicker. And Alex is absolutely right. It is an uncomfortable process because you've been holding these beliefs. And even though they cause you so much unbalancedness in your life, if there's such a word as unbalancedness, disharmony, as in a way, they're very familiar and they're very comfortable. And somebody coming in, this is what my clients say to me when I'm going, well, why? They go, oh, they want to talk about their feelings. I say to them, I'm not interested in your feelings. I want to know what you believe, what you think, what you choose for your life. I want you to be responsible. And that is the flip that will change your life. Today, try it today. Stop saying I feel. This is what I believe. I believe I'm not good enough. Why do you believe you're not good enough? I believe I can't cope, David. Why do you believe you can't cope? I believe I'm unlovable. I'm unworthy. Why do you believe that?
And actually, there's a couple of things that just come up there for me. It's almost like the I feel, the feelings is very much the language of the inner child.
Absolutely.
Because that's, as children, we are asking our children, are you all right? Do you feel okay? How's this? And that becomes the language of the inner child. But as an adult, we need to take greater self-responsibility. We need to focus more on the thinking, the choices, the thoughts and the beliefs.
That's such a good statement there, because I sometimes get clients come to me and say, David, I really want to do the work, but my inner child doesn't talk. I can't get my child to talk. And I say, well, that's strange. They normally talk. And then they say, it's because I feel. I say, stop. That's your inner child talking. You're absolutely right. Once you say I feel, that's your inner child. He's talking to you right now. She's talking to you. When she wants to talk about her feelings or his feelings, that's why he's distracting you not to get, because he doesn't want to be challenged. He doesn't like it. He'd prefer you to talk about feelings.
And also the CCJ, when our self-talk includes criticizing ourselves, judging ourselves, comparing ourselves, that is also the inner child talking. Absolutely. So that inner child is so busy all the time.
It's so busy because it doesn't like to be criticized, compared or judged. But if you noticed how quick it is of judging, comparing and criticizing other people.
And itself. And you.
Very interesting. It's very David, interesting work.
What really strikes me as well is this thing. It's almost like this grating feeling, this grating resistance from within when we start to do this inner exploration work, when we start really questioning these deep core beliefs. And we can often say, oh, you know what? I just haven't got time to this. Because it's like our inner child is in control and we are so focused and blinkered and driven on this mission of perfection, this desire to be super satisfied. We will be super satisfied with our life once we reach these goals and this next goal and this next goal. And it's like we are working so very, very, very hard with every ounce of energy on our body in this strive for perfection and satisfaction, but that we won't give ourselves a moment to pause and flip, like you've suggested, to do the inner work, to start to think, well, you know what? Perhaps there's another way to look at this completely.
Absolutely. And that's what the flip means. There's a totally other way. This language I'm using is incorrect. It's not getting me anywhere. Let me try what those guys say on Wu Wei Wisdom. Let me just try it for myself. And you can do this for yourself. You don't even have to tell anyone else. You don't even have to speak out loud. You can do it in your own mind. And just sit there quietly. Don't use I feel. Go down to the core. Ask yourself, is that true? What they said, does that make it true? And you see your life change. Because this is what I say on all of my videos. I believe you're awesome. Because I believe we're all awesome. We're all amazing human beings. I want you to reach your true potential. I have no idea what that is. I could not tell you. But somewhere in you, you know what that is. And that's what I want you help you to grasp hold of. That's what I want you to live your path. That's what the Tao means, to live in your flow, to flourish. And this is why we do these videos, because we believe you're awesome and we want to give you the tools to live in truth, to live in harmony, to be the best that you can be, not the best in the world and not meet other people's standards. The meaning of life is for you to be the best that you can be. And then this idea of satisfaction is almost laughable to me.
So, David, if we do the deeper inner work and we release and let go and rebalance those inauthentic beliefs that we're not good enough, that we can't cope, that we're unlovable, if we do that deeper work, are you saying that we shouldn't be striving, we shouldn't be trying to improve our lot, we shouldn't be, because you talk about reaching our potential. How, if I'm trying to get the wording right for this, if I'm unsatisfied with my life, surely that's a motivator to drive me to reach my potential.
The first, before you step forward and drive, you go back and find out why you're unsatisfied with your life. Because reaching your true potential is an authentic journey of truth, honesty, and integrity. So all the time when you're on your journey, you should be producing green lights of confidence, happiness, joy, bliss, love for yourself and for other people. That's what I mean by reaching your potential. That is your potential, to live in green light feelings, to live in positive feelings, to learn the life lessons, to take a knock and to be able to get back on your bike and to pedal harder, as we say, is to live in your flow, to flourish in your way. Don't worry about what other people think about you. Worry about what you think about you, and take away this comparing what other people are doing and I have to beat them, I have to be better than them. Be the best that you can be, not the best in the world. Be satisfied with you.
And so I guess what I'm hearing you saying there, David, is that we can experience a positive journey of growth and transformation and a sequence of beautiful experiences in life, but that doesn't have to be patterned or accompanied by constant CCJ. So we can make authentic judgments, we can critique and assess where we're at with our life and set good positive intentions for our future. But that does not mean we have to experience those red light feelings of dissatisfaction, being unsatisfied.
Once you experience those red light feelings, you know you've moved from your spiritual, true, authentic path, whatever word you want to call it. I want you to be treading fresh snow. I want you to be walking your path. There is no one, I say in all of my videos, there is no one like you in the universe. No one. You are totally unique. Walk your path. Walk your path with that honesty and that truth and that integrity in your heart. Be true to yourself, and then you'll see your life change, because then you'll align yourself with the law of attraction, and then opportunities will come that you never even thought existed. New things will come into your life. You will be amazed, whether you call it synchronicity, whatever you want to call it. I call it the law of attraction. When you are true to yourself, when you are connected and balanced and whole and focusing on your journey, then you become aligned and you're in your flow. Chi is flowing, chi energy, your life force is flowing, and above all, you'll be absolutely astonished what you can achieve. Far more than you ever set yourself. There's no need to keep on raising the barriers, because the horizon's just wide open, and you will look at every opportunity and you will frankly be amazed, and then you'll believe that you're as awesome as I believe you are.
And all these teachings, David, they apply throughout our life, because even
All
when
time.
we're going through very challenging and difficult times,
They apply more.
it's so much more vital to apply these teachings during those times, because again, the inner child will have the expectation that things should never go wrong. I should be perfect against all odds, even when I'm faced by really challenging, unfamiliar, really tough issues that come at me in my life. We have to have that solidity, that connection to Shen that we talked about right in the beginning, to keep that door open to connect us to the Shen.
And if you want to hear your inner child, when I was saying those positive things to you, because I believe them, I wasn't just saying them, did you hear a little voice in the back of your head saying, "No, not for me. Oh, he doesn't realise"? That's your inner child. That's your inner child. Is he or she in control of you, or are you in control of that voice?
Great. Thank you, David. So I think the overriding message of this video is that if you have those red light emotions and feelings of dissatisfaction, being unsatisfied with your life, your relationships, your career, what you have or have not got, any manner of gratitude practices will not solve the problem for you. What is required is for you to do that pause, to step off the hamster wheel, off that driving train towards perfection that is unachievable, and do that deeper inner work. Ask yourself that golden thread why question, and find the original point in time in your childhood when you first said those things to yourself, those 3 lies that we talked about. I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable, I can't manage or cope, because they are at the root of your dissatisfaction. We really, really hope this teaching has helped you. Please do comment below or ask us a question if you'd like to, and share the video with someone else who you think may also benefit. David works every week with clients on these sorts of issues by Zoom video call with clients all over the world. If you'd like to learn more about David's sessions, I will put a link below for you to learn more. And please don't forget that we produce new teachings every week, so do subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we'd love to share the journey with you. Take care, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.